And we are back. Hello, Mr. Frank, and congratulations for the first win.
Yes, thanks a lot, Anton. Thanks for having me. I am
Yeah,
happy to be casting the second match.
you seem very happy. Is it because of Priest of Titania?
Oh yes, every time I'm allowed to play elves, I'm just I don't know, like the deck is so awesome. So I'm just happy when I'm allowed to play it.
Yeah, we were debating who should do commentary if you're gonna bring elves or not, and it was like, yeah, let's put on Slay J. He likes elves. I too like
Nice.
elves. So I was considering wearing some like elvish ears, some pointed ears, but then I realized I have these headphones, so they fucked my elf costume. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. So it's fine. Probably the next match won't have any elves. So mm,
Mm. And that's a consideration in Epic, actually. I think more people might start to learn that we actually consider that if you have played one deck, you might want to showcase another deck, even if the first deck might be better to choose twice. I don't know. It's a
um,
factor to account for.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but at least like the people here really prepared well for elves.
Yeah,
Like I looked at the decks, and some of them, like for example, the Icarus deck from Phil has
yeah,
like it has so many hate cards against the elf deck. It's ridiculous.
yeah. It's nice. Speaking of Phil, let's see what we're gonna stream here up next. It is Phil against Anti. And well, the black deck, the black elf hate deck is not banned by Anti from Phil's side. So Mind Slickerid or Wognot or Bantnot or Dromer, no, not Dromer, Trevanot.
Yeah. So blue,
Uh,
white, green, not.
yeah,
But it's like more like blue, green, and there's a lost Mother of Runes and a lost Meddling Mage in
yeah,
the deck somewhere.
exactly. What do you think? What do you think Phil is bringing against Anti here? Let's start with that.
Looking at the decks, I think the Dreadnought deck is pretty okay against goblins, especially because Anti does not have a lot of artifact hate in his 75. There's no Goblin Tinkerer, for example.
Yeah,
Um, I think the Mind Slicer deck is pretty good against, well suited to beat the Goblin decks as well. So for Phil, I think like in the end he will bring the Friction Dreadnought deck.
yeah,
I think
me
it's
too.
yeah,
Mind Slicer has like Phyrexian Negators and Hypnotic Specters. It's horrible to play against Sly, which is
yes,
Anti's possible deck here to bring.
yeah.
So it comes to this as well. Will Anti play Goblins a third time, or will he actually choose five color Sly here?
Yeah, if I
What do
if
you
I
think?
look at the matchups, I think if I look from Anti's perspective, it feels like the Goblin deck has two matchups that it really doesn't really want to play. Like I think like an early Dreadnought is usually GG for Goblins, and there's a lot of hate in the sideboard for of the Icarus deck. So I
Yeah,
think Anti will come with five color Sly.
yeah. I let's see. Gordon, can you please tell us, bring us up what we're gonna see? Okay,
Oh
five color
yes,
Sly.
the
Nice, nice.
first like last stream I was on, I had everything wrong. So this is way above expectation.
Yeah, and here he has like main deck Seal of Cleansing against the Dreadnought, so this can be a fun matchup if it's Dreadnought. And
Yeah,
against, I think this deck is heavily favored against the mono black deck, the Mind Slickerid. Um,
I think so as well. Yeah,
yeah,
and even if you look at the sideboards, for example, you have the black creatures can't attack enchantment,
yeah,
so
pretty good.
that's kind of all right in that matchup.
Yeah. Should we see what Phil is bringing? Chat seems to be preferring the Mind Slickerid. Okay, it's
Yeah,
the not deck. So we kind of predicted right here.
yeah, and I also think like there was not a lot of room for mind games in choosing which deck to choose. I think it was kind of straightforward that these decks would be the decks. So I
Yeah.
would be highly surprised if I was off.
Yeah, no, in this specific match, I feel the same. I mean,
Yeah.
some matchups are like, yeah, it could be really either deck, but yeah, I agree here.
What do you think about the matchup?
Uh, I kind of like Dreadnought's odds against Sly normally, but the 5 color Sly within like the tutor is addressed to like actually deal with that kind of deck. So uh, I still think probably Phil is slightly favored, but I don't know. What about you?
I kind of feel like it feels like uh, actually I think Sly is slightly favored. I think like normally I would say Fed is favored, and I actually think that the 5 color Sly deck actually has a better matchup against this Dreadnought deck than a normal
Yeah,
Sly deck would have. Because normally when you were playing Sly, you play against like a form of Stifle Knot.
yeah,
You just see it Red Knot, and that one is pretty hard to raise. You can raise it, but you
yeah.
need like
But this deck has 4 nimble mongoose, which is I think they're pretty good against Sly. So let's see. I think we're ready to go down to the play area actually. And I don't know if Gordon can do some mod stuff to actually do a poll here. What the chat thinks, who will win this match. Let's see if he does it.
yeah, let's see what's going to happen and who
Yeah.
wins the die roll.
Yeah, Elendril, the green splash is super important here, Mongoose, and we're going
Uh,
to do lots of work. Yeah, I think
it's
so too.
it seems that Phil has
Okay.
milled
Yeah,
to
this is a good
5.
start. This can happen. This can happen. Okay,
Yeah, this
so Mox Diamond, Silver Cleansing, and Ante is doing the luck tap on his deck.
Yeah, and then Phil doesn't need to have a stifle
Yeah.
here, so that would be problematic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So last week we kind of went to time almost each game, and this week we're playing Fast Magic again.
Oh
It
yes,
feels
we're
like.
playing fast magic. Hmm.
But yeah, this is the strength with Dreadnought. Like these things happen, and you can mulligan. You can take huge advantage of the London mulligan rule with a 2A+B combo deck. So yeah,
Yeah, but the thing is, like, this game is not over. I mean, like, you, oh, this
okay.
game is over.
Ah, this is
I would.
this is good content. God damn it.
I was thinking like if he has an enlightened tutor here, like let's recap it a little bit, right? Like I think if he has an enlightened tutor here, he can find his seal of cleansing. But also like this probably means he did it on a white source as well, where he just had like nothing but a fast start.
Yeah,
And yeah, shit happens then, right?
shit happens.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers about that. Let's
Yeah,
look at the sideboard.
Kevin Costarino, you are correctly. This is why everyone hates Stifle Knot, except those who played it. But yeah, I agree. I hate it too.
Even when I was playing it, I felt kind of dirty. Like
Yeah, yeah, you
I,
feel it.
I actually liked playing the Esper not list, but I thought in the end the blue black list was like a little bit better. But like the more all in it went, the more I started to hate it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
No, I
let's look for sideboards, right?
yeah. So the Hydroblasts are good.
Yes, I would say so. It's
That
interesting.
sorry.
It's interesting because the you have the naturalize and the non-Tuku vigilante there, and normally it's all right against the slide deck, but now it has a variety of different enchantments and artifacts
Yeah,
to take care of.
yeah.
So you could argue to bring those in.
I think they are probably like in the same spot as mana leaks, basically. I think you cut like meddling mage, just get it out of here. It's not good
Yeah,
against fly. So like hydroblast for 2 mana leaks, and then cut a meddling mage for naturalize. Yeah, that's probably it.
yeah, yeah. You can argue to do an extra non-Tuku vigilante for careful study.
Yeah,
I wouldn't really hate that
yeah.
swap as well. I don't like careful study in this deck a lot, to be
True.
honest. Like, yeah,
Let's switch deck because they are shuffling up here. So let's see what Antti is gonna
yeah,
bring. He has a lot more. Uh,
yeah.
so we have. the Seal of Cleansings, Disenchants, Arcane Laboratory, Pyroblast. A lot can come in. And we saw Ante do that on week 1.
Yeah, yeah, and I can understand that. Like, there's so many cards. Like, let's start with the obvious ones. The Pyroblasts are very good against the combo, as are
Yeah.
the Seal of Cleansings and the Disenchants. Interestingly, you can board in Planar Void here as well. Do
Mm.
you think it's worth it?
No, no, I don't. I don't. But I can see the point for it. But I think like a Phyrexian Furnace is probably better in that case if you just want to keep them off threshold. Because Planar Void, if it comes too late, it's already dead. So
Yeah, it already doesn't accomplish anything anymore, right?
no,
So yeah, so I think you're right. I think I would not board in Planar Void as well. You can say something for Friction Furnace, like it kind of replaces it. Not kind.
yeah,
It replaces itself, and I
yeah,
think that's enough merit to board it
I think
in.
so. Yeah, against threshold especially, like it's a good card here. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about Arcane Laboratory?
It probably bring in one if you keep in any form of like enlightened tutors. I don't know if you board them all out now, but if you have some in, you could bring in one just to kill off the dreadnought combo. But mm, what do you
Yeah,
say?
exactly. Yeah, I think that's correct to board in one.
Mhm.
Uh, you do have some cards to take out because uh, you're basically like it either you answer the dreadnought and you're good, or you're mostly probably not even the real aggro deck in this situation. So taking it is a tad slower. I think it's not even the worst.
No, I agree. Should we go down to the game area? I don't know if they're getting ready. I kind of assume so.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
Gordon, will you shove the match clock as well? I mean, we basically played like 7 minutes or so, but yeah. So for anyone just tuning in, Phil played Mulligan to 5, played turn 1 Dreadnought with a um, not even a stifled Vision Charm, and Anti just scooped. So not very interactive Magic so far this game.
No, no, we've seen about a turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. Yeah. But we'll see if he can. They can drag out this game a little longer, and he has a bit more disruption. This game, like we're playing pre-post board with now
Yep.
5 disenchant effects.
Yep.
So at least I'm hoping for a bit like maybe 3, maybe 4 turns. That would be great, right? That would be
No.
like 300% more.
I mean the interesting part with playing like Stifle Not against Sly is yeah you could aggressively mull to Dreadnought and just hope, but since you have the green package, it's like it's kind of hard to make those like mulligan decision. If you have a hand with like I don't know Werebears and the Mongoose and not at all the Dreadnought, like you could play that. So
I, yeah, but I think you're the underdog if you're keeping hands that do not have the combo pre-board. But I think post-board those hands are fine because like the amount of removal that NT has for the combo makes it that you'd rather just like keep like average hands as well.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So let's see mulliganing. How many cards did Phil chose to keep here? Did
I
he keep a 7?
think I think he kept the 7
Oh,
and anti multi 6. He has a
no.
lot of mulligans this evening,
Okay, multi
right?
5. No, okay, we're not seeing it.
Oh, he even went to 5, or he's
Oh,
doubting between. Oh, and Phyllis Milligan as well.
okay. Uh, Also good to know for anyone, this is actually Slaughterin's last game, or not game, but last match in Epic in the pod play. So he kind of needs to win this to stay alive. We don't know how tie breaks will look and stuff like that, but the top 2 players in each pod, there are 5 players in the pods, will advance to playoffs. And currently, Ante is 1-2. So if it goes 2-2, it might suffice. We're not
Yeah,
sure. If everyone else is going like 2-2, then yeah, it will be based on tie breaks for sure.
yeah, for sure, and that is something that can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, if Antti actually wins this one, there's a shot for him to
Yeah.
proceed to the top four.
Yeah, especially since everyone like went 1-1 first week, so in pod A, so
Yeah,
it's kind of open.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if you
because
lose
you're
your next and like Phil wins against you and he loses against he loses against Ante, it's like so open. So yeah.
yeah, it could go either way. Like
Oh,
this
okay.
has not been done yet. Oh, we're seeing some fair
Yeah,
magic nowadays.
we're
We
doing it.
are currently in turn two, a turn we have not seen this match yet.
Yeah,
So
very interactive medic now. Do you trade a
yeah,
pup with a mongoose here? Feel
I,
like
I I would trade in a heartbeat here.
yeah,
But like I'm not a threshold player, but the thing is that Phil only has like the careful studies to get to threshold, so it feels like his way to get to threshold are a little limited. So I would
he
probably.
has vision charm if he wants to use that. So it's
Oh,
like
that's
that's
true. That's
5 cards.
5 cards, right?
Yeah, yeah, or
Yeah.
4 cards plus the vision charm, so 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah,
there's
Slay J points it out in chat as well now. Yeah, the Lava Man is good
oh
against a bear. It's very good.
against the bear. I think the lava man can win this fight. And I
Yeah,
assume. But let's see what he has. Let's see if he has something then. Because he still needs a second card, but only a fetch land would be sufficient. There's a gemstone mine,
yeah,
which you can still unlight it to turn your own turn now, and then shoot the werebear. Like I would probably try to get rid of it as
yeah.
fast as possible.
Oh,
Ooh, that you can sack it on itself if you really want to kill the werebear.
I
You
don't
can
think you
try.
do that. I don't think you do that, right?
I'm no, I do not think so either. It's not like it's ramping to anything, and there's no. There can be an Armageddon postboard, but I highly doubt if it was brought in. So I think it's just gonna attack, and
That's true. Actually, Armageddon is interesting here.
yeah.
For sure, for sure.
But against the Mox Diamond deck, it feels a little narrow.
Yeah. Okay, so Phil chooses to go full aggressive here.
Yeah, there's aggressive bears coming in for
Yeah.
one.
The dart professional legend Phil Taylor. I
Oh
don't know.
yes,
Does he play dart? I have
I,
no idea.
I I have no idea. I always imagine him to be the professional dart player Phil Taylor, but I never dare to ask because that would burst my bubble.
Let's not reveal it.
Yeah,
Keep it in the bubble.
yeah. I appreciate that.
No, no.
Let's see. Now here's the aggressive line. Two beers coming in for two.
Yeah, 2 is less than 8, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is also kind of interesting. Like, he could just slowball a Vision Charm here to just be sure. So when Ante is like activating his Grim Lava Monster, he could respond by getting Threshold. But I don't know. I think you attack for 8 rather.
I think that's very nice play. Weren't it like too cute?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
I really like those like respond to your removal spell by doing something. But now the aggressive line is brought back
Yeah,
to bring Phil to 15.
yeah. Okay, so not
But
too much. Sorry, go ahead.
it's interesting that you can sack the Lotus Petals to get some extra threshold as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, I
But
mean, taking 2 a turn is not that horrible, but like once there's a threshold, eh, getting him down to 10 with just plain attacks 1/1s, it's pretty good.
yeah, for sure. And I think like what you said about the Vision Charm, I think that's true that Phil does not have the Fishy Charms, but I think he has a Stifle in hand. Like
Mm.
let's see what happens when he now activates his the Grim Lava Monster, and I think a Stifle will appear to save his Werebear from dying. Do you think that's a fine line to take?
Yeah, in this spot for sure, since he doesn't have anything to like fuel his graveyard apparently. So like getting 2 cards with 1 stifle, it's huge here, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's very huge.
Yeah, chat seems a bit uh, like I don't know, baffled about the 5 color slide deck. Doesn't seem to do that much. We should probably state that this deck is it's kind of affected by the unified rules. So Ante doesn't play like the James Smith's list, which is probably more tuned. But he wanted to try it out to see how it's going because it has some cool play with it. But
Yeah, I
so
like
far,
the
sorry.
I like the idea behind the deck. I'm not sure if it's better than Sly, but I like that it's possible. Like I always had the feeling that with slide decks you need to use every resource that you have. Hey, look, there's the Stifle for the Grim
Yeah,
Lava Monster.
you
There
said
we
it.
go. Yeah, called it.
Mm.
And so discarding cards to your Mox Diamond and casting a Lightning Tutor feels counterintuitive to me to put those in your deck, but it also gives you a, yeah, a lot of great lines and a toolbox, and
Ooh.
it gives it like some versatility that the deck normally doesn't have.
Yeah. We have a Pyroblast here on the stifle, so that's interesting.
Oh, let's
But
see.
Mana Leak, yeah, okay.
It's a mana leak.
This is like such a silly counter war, basically over a 1/1. But yeah,
I
it's fine.
like it. I
Yeah,
like. I kind of like. I dig those kind of like cripple battles that sometimes occur when
yeah,
both players kind of are playing against a certain way that the other deck is trying to beat them, but
yeah,
both do not have the thing that the other is trying to battle, but they just have the answers.
yeah. So threshold, yeah, he's getting threshold. I like it.
He's
Now he has,
getting thresholds.
I think he
He's
has
like
7 card
six
with Mortar.
now.
Yeah, and 7 with the tutor. So the counter
It's
war is,
six. It's six with the tutor, right?
I think the card behind the card beneath the first Lotus Petal. I think there's a card beneath it, but I'm not sure. But I don't
Let's
think.
see.
I mean, he's right in the attack
Oh yeah,
steps. I don't think he would play like a Worldly Tutor in before combat damage unless it's because of threshold. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it was a Nimble Mungu, so you're completely right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, did is there a chance that he boarded out his a part of his combo?
yeah. He might actually. He might have done that. But I mean, still, even if he has the dreadnoughts, I think getting a werebear is super good. Like they are 4/4 now, and they can't really deal with it. So I think that's the correct line.
Yeah,
Uh,
there we go. This seems to be getting rather dark for Anti. I think he's with his back against the wall now,
yeah,
and like yes, like 8 power across the board, and another 4 coming up
yeah.
with only like 2 cards in hand. So it feels like it's
It's grim.
rough to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, chat. James Smith has done fantastic results with this deck, and it's like it's built to battle like dreadnoughts and other combat decks. So that's the rationale for it. So I mean, and I saw someone wrote here in chat about looking the PSS. Yeah, it's a fine deck,
yeah,
but yeah, it might be too inconsistent. In the other hands, not James Smith's. I don't know. Sometimes that's true. Like it needs to be the original player, the creator of the deck. Not saying that
yeah,
Andy is doing this anything like wrong or a bad player, but like some decks are just meant to happen for one particular player.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, sometimes you just know the ins and outs, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's just like, oh, I think it's
that's a good.
over.
I mean, he had everything. There we see why it's a good deck against Dreadnought. If it's just a simple Dreadnought, like he had 2 Pyroblasts and 1 Disenchanter and a Seal of Cancel. Like he was
Yeah,
fully stacked with hate. But yeah. Okay, so two fast games. I think we should bring in the players to talk some shit. Hopefully, Ante is not too depressed. You kind of took some joy from him, Frank, earlier. So
Yeah,
maybe you
yeah, that sometimes happens. Like
yeah,
that's the downside of playing elves. Sometimes people just
yeah,
like think like, oh, why am I playing this game?
yeah,
But luckily, my other choices, Pink Prison and Bitrek, are very, very interactive fun decks.
yeah,
So
for sure. Valerio, I don't think anyone like took that as your point, so don't worry about it. It's just good to see the discussion in chat.
yeah,
Um,
and I think you can question like deck choices and stuff like that.
so let's bring in the players there. Hello,
Hey
Hello.
guys,
players.
Hello, guys.
So good games, fast games.
Yep.
Yeah, I think mulliganing actually took longer than playing in this match.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah. It was
Indeed.
a little sad that there was a very like it was not for you obviously, Phil, but the first game was over without like we were talking a bit about things and it was like, oh, this is there, oh, there's a scoop. Okay, that was
Yeah,
kind of sad
my
for
strategy in
Antti.
game one was just to get to mulligan aggressively to Dreadnought turn one and hope for the best.
Yep.
Yeah, was that a strategy that you thought of beforehand, Phil?
No,
No.
I don't think so. But yeah, the funny thing is, Anti chose to scoop right away, so I did not have any information of what he's playing.
Yeah.
But I
true.
Oh, that's
That's
yeah, so
true. Very
sideboarding was
smart.
a
true.
little bit tough, but I think there's some overlap between goblins and Sly with my sideboard cards, so I could do some sideboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
And
the
that's a very smart.
nightmare start that I was afraid of when I thought about the game, like the matchups beforehand. I was really hoping that he will not pick the Stifle Knot deck because I feel like both of my decks have a hard time to deal with the fast
Yeah.
combo. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think I could not bring my Ikarid deck against both of your decks. Very bad
yeah.
matchups for me, so it was kind of clear for me that I would be on out. And
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
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 It,
Playing your Mind Slicker with like Phyrexian Negators and Hypnotic Specters against a possible Sly,
not a
not
good
the best
idea.
feeling. No, no. And Ante, I love that you actually like took variance here in your deck choices, not going goblins, goblins, goblins. So yeah,
Mm.
kudos.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that was one of the things that I considered, and the other was that if and when he's gonna probably play the Dreadnought deck, I want to have more than just four naturalizers to deal with
Yeah,
the combo. So
Yeah.
more outs if he doesn't go fast enough.
and we saw
Yeah.
that in the second game.
Yeah,
Like you had 4 cards to deal with a Dreadnought combo.
yeah. Well,
Just
that's it.
happened that
Yeah,
werebears were, yeah, there.
Barber
yeah.
swear. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing I love about the green version of Dreadnought, that you just don't have to rely on the Dreadnought as a finisher,
Mm.
but instead on the threshold creatures. If something goes wrong or the opponent has too much hate against the Dreadnought.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Should
I
we
can.
bring up Ante's deck here to see how he sideboarded? Because this is interesting to hear how you sideboarded.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I actually did bring in all the disenchants and the seals. Uh, and also I did add the blasts for the carnivores.
Yeah.
And I did also add, because I knew that you're on the threshold creatures. If you get the threshold, I'm going to be in big trouble because I will have a hard time to punch in the damage. I can't rely wholly on the burn strategy to just take to deal 20 damage. So I felt like at some point I might need a crypt or a furnace to control your board a bit. So yeah, I don't know. It was so hard to attack that version of the deck,
We
but
discussed
that's what
that,
I
me
bought
and
in.
Frank,
Mm.
Yeah.
if you should bring in both crypts or furnace or just furnace. But you took in both, Ante.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
And I did board out two of the Enlightened Tutors. because I have so many cards to bring in, and I don't want to miss the draw and take an extra turn to get to my sideboard cards. I'd rather just draw them into my hand.
What
The
were
finals,
the other cards that you took out, Anthony?
2 Goblin Cadets are terrible in a matchup where he can bring in a bunch of blockers if I can't burn them down. And 2 Fire Eyes as the worst burn spells. That's 6 cost, and one of the Seals and Standstill, because I hate both of them. They are terrible targets for the Enlightened Tutor. They're not effective enough, and Standstill is rarely playable, so that's easy.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. And the Plague was not needed, really. So that's 9. So 4 white cards come in fast, and those 2 artifacts, that's 9. The lab, it's not optimal when he has the beatdown plan also.
I think it's better versus the other Dreadnought versions.
Yeah.
We quickly touched the topic of the arcane lab, but it felt like it was unnecessary to board in such a card. Also because it's a little slower than the Dreadnought combo, it's a mana less. So unless you have a Mox Diamond and are on the play, you're kind of you do have it on time then, and then you can still play a match of Magic without having that. And like there will be naturalizers in the sideboard boarded in for Phil, I thought. Yeah.
Should we look at Phil's deck as well? And hear Phil's thoughts about sideboarding?
Yeah, pretty complicated for me as I didn't know what I'm up against, but the Hydroblasts are kind of no-brainers against both decks. And I took in 1 Naturalize in case he would be on the sly to handle a Seal of Cleansing or an Arcane Laboratory.
Yeah.
And I took out the Meddling Mage and 2 Careful Study, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we figured the Meddling Mage would probably go.
Yeah, and we touched the Careful Studies, whether or not they would be good enough, because it's more of a grindy game after boarding, and you cannot really rely on your Friction Dreadnoughts to survive. So I thought like you can cut the Careful Studies just to make room for somewhat more potent cards. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. Sorry.
So did you think about boarding in Vigilante now that you know the matchup, Phil?
I'm not sure. I think the only enchantment I want to get rid of is the Arcane Nap. Maybe the Seal of Cleansing, which is one-off. Pretty clunky, I think. And in most situations, I would rather tutor for Werebear or anything. Probably.
Yeah. Well, cool games, guys. And we have to thank Antti Slaughter in here. You have played your 4 matches so far. We will probably... Yeah, we will
Some
probably
players
force
that
you
even
to
started and Anti's done already.
And now I'm really done because I lost too many games.
Yeah, but we will force you to do some commentary, so you will still be in Epic and on the stream.
Of course,
if that works out for you, but I really hope so.
Yep.
But a pleasure to have had you on. So next game is actually, those 2 guys there. So Phil and Frank. I don't know. Should we do some pull up the schedule and just see? So I think we should say goodbye to Antti first, and let's keep talking some shit with Frank and Phil. Antti, have a good one. Thank you so much for these 4 amazing games.
Good games, Antti.
Good games, man.
Yes, good games, Antti.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So let's start by bringing up the play schedule, because we are quite ahead of time today. I think we will start a bit earlier than 10 o'clock, because Yeah, it's 45 minutes. So yeah, let's not do that. So we'll start in probably like 10 minutes. This is what you have banned. Frank, let's start with you. You don't have to reveal your deck, obviously, but what was your thinking behind the banning process? You banned Phil's Mind Slicker.
Yeah, there was a lot of elves hate in the sideboard, and and also like the mind slicers were kind of good against Pink Prison. And then it felt like then the only matchup that you had left is like Pitrack versus the Mind Slicer deck, and also there it didn't feel like I was very favorite. So it felt like overall the Mind Slicer accurate deck was like pretty good against all my 3 decks. So it was kind of an easy choice when I was going through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel. I mean, it's a shame. We want to see Mind Slicker. It's a public favorite.
Maybe we can in the next 2 matches. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Phil, how did your reasoning go to ban Pink
Yeah,
Prison?
for me it was a pretty easy decision which deck to ban, but a pretty hard decision which deck to pick actually. First of all, I don't like to play against Pink Prison, and I think Pink Prison has the best matchup against all of my decks by far of Frank 3 decks, because I don't want to play against it with Rifter, because Devastating Dreams really kills all my lands, and my lands are the only resources on the board most of the time. And I cannot play around land tags either. With the Equity deck, I have the same problem that I cannot play around land tags, and land tags kind of counters my discard strategy completely.
No.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think now it has the best matchup out of my 3 decks against Pink Prison, but not a good one, because all the creatures would die to Devastating Dreams, and yeah, so it was pretty easy for me to ban Pink Prison.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go like what you did against Anti, multi-5, do a turn 1, and he doesn't have the plow, yeah, you're pretty settled against Pink
Yeah,
Prison.
but
yeah.
you know how it goes.
Nice those corner cases, huh?
Yeah. You see, chat here wants to see are we Rifter against Pit Rack. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping for that too. It will be fun to see like a variety of decks today.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna take a short break now and prepare you to go to the game rooms, and we will have Gordon on with Mr. Happy German himself here, Sladia in chat. So Frank, thanks for doing commentary with me, and Phil, thanks for showing the power of Bunt. And good
Always
luck
pleasure.
with the next match.
Yes, thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me,
Thanks.
Anton. It was nice doing commentating again, but it was a little shorter than the last time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we need to retake someday.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we'll be back in about 5 minutes, chat. So stay tuned.